Hi, this is part 2 of our video on the repair of a power supply from a Samsung Plasma TV, model number PS-42C91. The power supply type is BN44-00161A, and these two transistors are gone. One is blown, it's blown out of it. There's a short on this subboard. We get the end of the shot. There's a subboard right here. There's a short on one of the surface mounted, so there's a kit for that board as well. It's got to be replaced. I'm not going to show you every step because it makes for a very, very long video. Needless to say, there is kits available. There's a kit. This kit here is actually for replacement of these two transistors, and for the components here at the bottom that were burnt out at the same time when it went. Right, without further ado, we're going to start taking it apart. Okay, the first thing I do is I normally freshen up the solder a bit on these transistors. You see that leg came out no problem, it just fell out. Just freshen them up. And then what I do is just use my desoldering iron. This one. And then we have QX802. Straighten the leg of this for the iron to go over. Now what we have to do is to remove these two screws on QX801. Now I know the screwdriver's in an angle, but it will come. The only other option would be to take the whole heat sink out and unsolder all these transistors as well, which just makes it a bit longer. Heatsink compound is really dried up in it. That's them out. Now what I've got to do is remove the heatsink compound. Okay, we have to shape the legs as well, because as you see, the legs are straight in this one, and the middle one is bent on this one. So we got the brand new component. We have to bend the middle leg to match up the holes of the PCB. Okay, as you can see, the middle one's bent, and I'm going to stick some heatsink compound into it. It's nice and tight. Okay, I'm just repeating the same now for the other transistor, the heatsink compound. I bent the leg already, and I'm going to just insert it, and then I put my transistor in. Tighten it up. Make sure it's nice and tight to get the terminal contact between the heatsink compound and the transistor. Okay, that's that. To connect it, and we're just going to solder them in. Okay, that's them two in. Now we're going to tackle the smaller surface mounted items. Next we're going to tackle the 4 resistors. We got RX832, RX803, they're both 20 ohm resistors here. And then we got RX833 and RX802 in this area here. And of course we have 2 diodes as well that should be replaced. DX804 and DX803 in this area here. Okay, we're just going to remove the resistors first. And normally the way I do this is, now these, I would normally put plenty of solder on them. And they will just come out, loads of solder, and they will come out. And then just clean it up a bit. Okay. Some of the fluff, some underneath components. I'll do a finer clean when we're finished, but it's just easy to get most of it off, but from there, the components are out of the way. 1, 2, nearly lost it. Okay. What I didn't do normally, I stick a bit of solder on the bottom of the iron. Hold the component down and just let it in there. No, it's in there roughly. got this solder there already. Okay, now we have this diode here to remove as well. A bit of solder wick for that. And, see, can I prise up one end of it? Okay, once you get one up end of it's easier to come out. Okay, that's the diode out. But now before we put in the unit, I'm just going to get those other two transistors first. Or sorry, or the two surface mounted resistors, which are down here, 20 ohms. The two of them are in parallel, which would give you a resistance then of 10 ohms. You should read across the two if they're okay. Okay. Just clean up the excess solder. See, I normally put loads of solder on surface mounted components like that. It just makes them easier to lift. Now, the board a bit of a clean. I have RX 804 and RX 805 mounted on the board in its positions. That's RX 805. You got RX 804 at the end of this. I'm just going to solder them in. And that's the main part of the kit replaced. I just got to chop the legs off the bottom of these transistors, trim them off a bit. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to give it the bottom end of it a final clean up around that output stage. And we have, of course, we have a fuse here that we replaced at the top end. Let me just see. This one here. I mentioned that this was a 4 amp earlier on. It was actually an 8 amp. Okay. As you can see now, both my fuses are intact. And of course, now what remains to be done now is the subboard. This one here, I'm having a short on it right here, this particular one here. I'm going to just remove it, and to remove it, I'm going to solder all the pins along here. Line the pins right there. What I normally do then is I would freshen the solder up, and first put a bit of fresh solder on it. Just makes it easier to remove the solder. You leave the solder around too long on the print, it will damage. You don't want that. Okay, that's all the solder freshened. I'm going to just wait till my the solder iron heats up, and then we'll start removing the solder. You could use the standard solder line, but desolder braid. I should say desolder braid. I don't like the mechanical vacuum pumps. They do more damage. Looks like it's desoldered. Just double check. As you see, the print is loose, or the pins are loose in the board, so it's ready to fall out. And here we are from the top. As you can see, we have a chip on it on the top, and at the back then we have lots of surface mounted devices. This one here is the one that's shorted, but I got a kit to replace the lot, so we're going to start on that. I have freshened up the solder on this IC. It's U804 and it's an MC33067 type chip. I'm just going to start on soldering it. Trying to get at an angle so the camera can get the shot. Going to check all the pins and make sure they're loose. Okay, turn it over. There's actually one pin I didn't desolder. Okay, we're putting in the new IC. There is a little key on the top of the chip, a little notch. This notch must go in line with this notch that's on the PCB. slightly bend to the legs just to keep it in place while I'm soldering. Yeah. Okay. Just had to reposition the camera to get a good shot of the soldering. Of course, it is important not too short and leave the pins out. If you do, you can remove them with a bit of desolder braid. Okay, just check for okay, looks alright. Clean up the flux later. Next I'm going to take out QS 803, 804, 805 and 806. The 4 transistors, and you see a little box here right in it. It will give you the details on it. It says QS 805 here, so that's this one. The next one goes to, and so forth. I don't have enough space to put a circuit reference number beside the transistor, so they normally leave it in a box, and you got to line up the numbers with the actual transistor. So that's QS 805. That's QS 804. 803 and 806. So right, we're going to start on them. I'm going to freshen them up a bit and remove them. Okay, we have some nice fresh solder on it, and we're just going to start remove the excess now to remove the transistors. Get all the excess off. Okay. Right. Here's the tricky bits. Normally I try to lift one side, and then the other side comes off easy enough. That's out of it. One. Sometimes it comes very easy. Last one, there's 4, set 4. Chips off, 4 transistors off. I'm going to just give it a bit of clean up around it so we can put in the new transistors. You can see all the excess flux on it. Bit of solder there. Okay, so pad's clean. So I got QS 804 and 803. Here, I'm just going to take them out. The wrappers. I have QS803 and 804 lined up on the PCB. The transistor type BC848 there. Don't mix them up with the other ones in the kit. You have to make sure you have the correct ones. If you notice there, Q803 is in the second pad up. Might have to just get up a bit. Okay, it's not zooming in great. Okay, I've placed QS803 and QS804 on the PCB. I've lined them up, cleaned the pads. Now all that remains is the solder one. Make sure you put them in the right position. QS803 is the second one up from the bottom here. QS804 is the fourth one from the bottom. Okay, just going to solder in one lead of each up first. Transistor does move slightly, but I solder the other two pins. Okay. Now we've got QS805 and QS806. We'll get them ready. QS805 and QS806 are now positioned on the PCB. They're transistor type BC858. I'm just going to solder one leg in first. Okay. One of my transistors shifted. I'm just going to have to reposition it. Okay. Okay, that's the 4 transistors in. I'm going to remove now DS823. It's this 3-legged device here, even though it is a diode. It looks similar to the rest. Don't be mistaken, it is totally different. So I'm just going to get rid of the excess. I've already put some fresh solder on it to make it just a little bit easier to remove. Okay, that came off nicely. Give it a bit of a clean up around the area. Okay, I got the S823 in the PCB. I'm going to start soldering it in. This the component was reading shorted earlier on, but the short went as soon as I removed the IC. So I imagine there was a problem with the IC that we replaced earlier that was causing the short to read across that diode. So that's that in. I'm now going to remove RS859. It's a 4.7 ohm resistor and it's located right here. As you can see from this figure here, there's a little box with numbers down here, and you'll see the RS859, and the arrow then comes up here, points to that. So the bottom one here, you've got a line. You count the amount of components in this, it will more than likely match the components between the IC. So I'm going to remove that. I was reading about 4.8 at home, but it needs to be replaced with the kit. Okay, I'm just going to solder in RS859. Got my tweezers, and I've already put a little bit of solder on one side of the resistor pad. Now I'm going to solder on the other end of it. You need some soldering skills to be able to carry out this repair. If you haven't got soldering skills, don't make any attempt at it. This is more for your experienced engineer. Okay, right, that's them in. Now, we got two components to replace on the main board, QQ802 and JP167. I'm just going to start, what I'll do first before I go on to that, I just clean up this board, give it a bit of clean up and solder it into the main board before I start putting in the other two last components. Of course, when you have it cleaned up, it's easier to check and see if you have any solder shorts, and all your components are correctly soldered in. Okay, it's okay. I positioned the sub power control board into the main board, and as you can see, the chip part, the chip side of the board, this side faces the heatsink. Okay, it can go in two ways, and you'd have a problem if you put it in the wrong way. As a guide, you'll see there's another one this side. You put in the same as the one on the far side. Okay, have it set up. I'm going to start soldering the PCB in. Okay, what I did there was I just put a bit of solder on to hold it in, and then shuts it up to make sure the PCB is fully home onto the main PCB. Okay, that pad is not connected. Okay. Next we're going to tackle those two components on the actual power supply itself. Okay, I'm going to start removing QQ802. It's a B985 type transistor. That's the one that has been given as a replacement. It's a different type than the one that's in it. Right, we're just going to remove the transistor. It's the transistor between two capacitors. There's a capacitor here, there's a capacitor here. If you look at it from the top of the board, you'll see two capacitors, and it's a transistor between it. Okay, I'm just going to, without using the vacuum tool, I'm going to just use solder wick just to show a different way of removing them. As you can see, the transistor is loose now. I'll just turn over the board and remove it. Okay, this is the top view of the PCB, and there's the transistor unsoldered there at that particular point there. Okay. I'm just going to put in the new transistor in. And as you can see, marking on the board, there is a round section of the component there, and then it's straight there. Okay, I ran out of video there in the last section, and didn't have enough to show the soldering of JP167 and that transistor, but the process is the same. Remove the solder, clean it. All that I need to do now is put the power supply back into the unit and power it up. I'm not going to show the process of connecting the board back up and putting it back on the TV, as it would make the video too long. It's already very long, so I'm trying to cut it a bit short. Right, I'm just going to reposition the camera now. Alright, I have the power supply and all connected. Have it sitting up, and what I'm going to do now is plug in. Okay, the relay clicks. Blue light is on. Relay clicks to come out of standby. Blue light flashes. Okay, as you see, that has been a successful repair. Job is complete. So we can see if we got sound. And yes, we have sound. I hope that's of some benefit to somebody that is repairing the BN44-00161A PCB, which is found in various Samsung plasma TV. This particular model is the PS-42C91HX. It's, as I say, it can be in other models as well, not just Samsung. You might find that same power supply. I had to use both kits as the sub power supply had a short on it. If you don't find a short on the sub power supply, sub PCBs, I should say, not power supply, sub PCBs, just get the one kit with the two transistors, fuse, and surface mounted resistors and diodes for around the output stage. And as you can see, they're not a bad picture. Thanks for watching.